Well, hello viewer. Today I'm going to repair or replace a guide on my old GT rod that's broken the insert out of it, probably through misuse, I would say. Probably, if I was to guess, it would be from hitching my lure, the treble of the lure inside the guide when it's not being used, because these are silicon carbide rings on these guides, and they're very strong, but they're a little bit brittle as well. So and they don't have a shock ring, so if you're rough with them, they will break. Well, the ring comes out of the ring comes out of the frame. So here's a hint: if you've got an old rod, or you have rods that break or you don't use anymore and you're just going to throw them out, have a look if they've got good Fuji silicon carbide guides like this, or any guides for that matter. It's worth thinking about just taking the guides off them and keeping them handy, because these guides are pretty expensive. And I'd previously had a T-curve jig rod that broke in half, and I took the guides off it. Fortunately, one of the guides I took off it is exactly the same as the guide that I need to replace, so that's a win. They don't take up much room in your bag or your boat or whatever. I mean, if you can take them out in your boat and just take some little cable ties, if you get really stuck, or some heavy duty tape, and just tape them on, because the load of the line's spread over like 7 or 8 guides. It'll get you through a day. But anyway, I'm going to replace the whole thing, so I'm going to start by just with a really sharp knife, just start on the top of the guide and chip away at that finish, chip away at the epoxy down to the frame. On both sides, doing your very best not to cut yourself, I'm sure. And once you do that, you can just cut through the bindings. Don't cut the blank. That is the main goal of this. Do not damage the blank. So once you cut the finish away, you should be able to just pull that guide off like that. Yeah, okay, so what's happened here is that ring is actually broken. So the ring's broken, alright, hard on here, whatever. The ring's broken, and the frame's broken, and the ring's fallen out. So I'll keep going with that. Get the old bindings off. Give it a clean up, and then we'll bind on the new one. Alright, got the bindings off. The next job will just be to give it a sand and just clean that off back to the blank. I'm just using a bit of 360 grit here. That's doing the job. Okay, once you're happy with that, get your little repair kit. Get the thread you need. Got a bit of black and a bit of grey, a bit of silver. Nothing on that. There's one with some black. I just use a can with a couple of notches cut in it, so you can get your thread, pop it in your can like that, with a little old brush, which will come in handy later for doing the finish. Okay, so this is this rod I'm going to do a underbound and double overbound. It's just a bit stronger than having just the overbound straight onto the rod. You probably want the best sort of connection you can have. So I'm gonna get my silver first. So I'm doing underbound with silver. Alright, so I'm going to underbind it in silver and overbind in black. So once you just sticky tape it onto your blank, and then go over that and just lock it onto the blank. And once you get started, it's best to have it so that it's rolling away from you, and you're that way your thread's on top and you can sort of see it a bit better. So I'm just going to, once I get this started, it should be okay. Alright, once you get close to the end, get a wrap of a contrasting colour. Just put a loop. Just put a loop under your binding. And then you're going to go about another 5 wraps. About 5 wraps past that. Okay, I might have done a bit more than 5 there. That's all right. Snip it off, tuck it in that loop, and then you can pull that loop of. Hang on, I just have to give that a snip. Pull that loop through, and that'll pull the tag end through. And you can pulls the tag end through, and that's tucked in there. So it'll stay there for when you won't go missing on you. So this one here, I'll tag that one off too. So Okay, once your bed of underbinding is on, you can position your guide. Make sure it's straight. Get a bit of tape. Tape 1 foot on. Tape 1 foot on, and then on the back you want to roll it on so the rod's rolling away from you, so that the thread stays on top. Just take a little bit of getting started here. Okay, it's coming along. I've got the double underbinding on there. We'll just trim that off with a razor, probably best. So that's got the double underbinding on, double overbinding, sorry, and on the bottom foot of the guide. Just check it over, make sure it's still in line, and then I'll do the top foot. Okay, the double overbinding's done. I'll just get rid of the tags. So that's a good strong. It's a good strong connection for your guide. There won't be any ripping that off. Next step, let's put some epoxy on it. I use the Erskine epoxy. You can use if you use a single pack varnish or something, just be careful, because a lot of those go yellow in time, whereas the 2-pack epoxy usually stays nice and clear. So here is my homemade rod bed or rotisserie. Just using a barbecue rotisserie motor that I picked up at Bunnings. This is pretty old. This is about 20 years old, this setup, but it still works. It just comes in handy for fixing rods and things. I used it to originally make this fishing rod. So I've got to tape the rod in so it doesn't fall off. So, and here I've got a just a felt lined leg there to support it, and just rolls nice and slow. This is only single speed. Obviously, if you get a commercially made rod rotisserie, you'll have more speeds and all the rest of it, but this is just a cheap way, and I keep this stashed away in the cupboard, this rod rotisserie, and just comes in handy for doing little repairs like this. So I'll mix up some epoxy and put it on. So this is 1:1. If it's pretty hot up here, but I'm only going to mix up a little bit. But you mix up equal parts. I'll put a tiny bit more. If now the hardener can get a bit gluggy, but because it's nice and hot here, this is still fairly fluid. Mix it up. Yes, you probably should use a syringe to get exact amounts, but this will be fine, particularly on the first coat, because you'll be putting more coats over the top. And then you can brush it on. I'm going to use just a paddle pop stick to apply it. That way I'm not going to run out of brushes. We'll put a couple of coats on here, but this is just the first one. Make sure she's all covered. If you're in a colder climate, if you see little bubbles in your epoxy, you can use like a heat gun or a hairdryer on really slow setting, just to get rid of the bubbles. It'll bring them up to the surface and they'll pop. But here, because it's pretty warm, I'm not having that issue today. Alright, well that's 2 coats, that's probably going to have to do it. I would put 3 on, but I'm going fishing in the morning, so I want to use this rod and I want to give it plenty of time to cure, so that's all for now.